Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a question that might sound straight out of a sci-fi nightmare. What if all the oceans on Earth suddenly evaporated? Imagine standing where the Pacific Ocean used to be, surrounded not by waves and sea breeze, but by endless miles of cracked salt and lifeless sand. It's a haunting thought, right? Before we explore what this world would look like, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button so you don't miss our next deep dive into the most fascinating what-if scenarios from science and beyond. Now let's picture it. If every drop of water in the ocean vanished, Earth would immediately transform into something unrecognizable. The shimmering blue planet we know would turn into a pale, dusty sphere. The first thing you'd notice? The sky. It wouldn't be blue anymore. Without the ocean reflecting sunlight and absorbing heat, the atmosphere would grow thin and hazy, filled with dust and salt particles carried by violent winds. The temperature would rise sharply. Oceans act like the planet's air conditioner, absorbing heat by day and releasing it at night. Without them, deserts would expand across continents, and the equator would become nearly uninhabitable. You'd see dry coral reefs stretching for kilometers, ancient shipwrecks sitting on the open ground, and creatures that once ruled the seas, whales, sharks, jellyfish, all gone within hours. And yet, this is just the beginning of what the new, oceanless Earth would look like. So what happens next after the oceans disappear? The chain reaction would be catastrophic. Without massive bodies of water to fuel the hydrological cycle, rain would stop completely. Rivers, lakes, and even underground aquifers would begin to dry up within weeks. Clouds would vanish from the sky, and humidity would drop so low that life on land would suffocate from dehydration. Coastal cities like New York, Tokyo, and Sydney would suddenly find themselves hundreds of kilometers from any water. Ships would sit stranded on cracked seafloors, their hulls rusting under a sun that now burns much hotter than before. The exposed ocean beds would release massive amounts of carbon dioxide and methane, trapped for millions of years under the seafloor. This would trigger a vicious feedback loop, heating the planet even faster. Animals and humans would struggle to survive. Plants would wither, and oxygen levels would plummet as forests burned uncontrollably. Even the polar regions, once covered in ice, would evaporate under the relentless heat, exposing the rocky crust of the Earth like open wounds. Meanwhile, new landscapes would appear, giant canyons and trenches, once hidden beneath the waves, now visible from space. The Mariana Trench, the deepest part of our planet, would become an enormous scar stretching thousands of kilometers. Scientists might explore these newly exposed lands, discovering fossils and ancient ecosystems untouched for eons. But their excitement would be short-lived in a dying world. And as the oceans vanish, so would our greatest stabilizer, the climate itself. Weather as we know it would cease to exist. No more rain, no snow, no storms. Only dust, dryness, and heat. But could humanity survive this disaster at all? Let's explore that next. Without oceans, survival would be almost impossible, but humans are nothing if not creative. Scientists and engineers would race against time to design massive atmospheric machines, trying to extract water from the thin air or condense what little vapor remains. Underground cities might emerge, built deep beneath the crust to escape the deadly heat above. People would depend entirely on artificial ecosystems, enclosed domes filled with recycled air, synthetic rain, and hydroponic crops. These domes would become the last oases on a barren planet, glowing like tiny green islands in a desert world. Energy would come from solar panels, but even the sun would be a threat. Too bright, too hot, too close for comfort. Wildlife would almost vanish, but perhaps some species, like insects or microbes, would evolve to survive the harsh conditions. The Earth would transform into a rust-colored wasteland, more like Mars than the blue planet it once was. Over time, humanity might begin to look toward the stars again. Without oceans, Earth would no longer be home, just a memory of what was once alive. Terraforming Mars, colonizing moons, or finding a new ocean-covered exoplanet might become the only hope. And yet, if we could somehow reverse this, if scientists found a way to recondense vapor and fill the basins again, the rebirth of the oceans would be the greatest event in human history. Life could return slowly, wave by wave. So the next time you stand by the sea and feel the salt breeze, remember this thought experiment. Without those vast blue waters, there would be no us, no life, and no future. If the oceans vanished, the disaster wouldn't stop with heat and drought. It would trigger a chain reaction that reshapes the entire planet's systems. First, Earth's rotation would begin to change. Right now, the distribution of ocean mass helps balance the planet's spin. Without it, the Earth's axis could shift slightly, altering the length of days and seasons. Some regions might freeze while others burn endlessly. Then, the magnetic field could weaken. Oceans play a subtle but important role in heat circulation that powers the molten movements deep inside Earth. A temperature imbalance could disrupt the outer core, exposing the planet to solar radiation and cosmic particles. Volcanic activity would likely increase. The crust would shrink and crack as pressure changes, unleashing massive eruptions and even forming new land masses from lava. The sky would darken with ash, temporarily cooling what's left of the surface. Meanwhile, human civilization would splinter. Nations would collapse as freshwater became the rarest resource. Wars would erupt over underground aquifers and ice reserves. The last survivors might migrate toward the poles, where pockets of moisture and cooler air still exist. Ironically, this cataclysm would also reveal things we've never seen before. The ancient seafloor, filled with fossils and lost cities, perhaps even forgotten species preserved in salt. It would be a haunting museum of Earth's biological past, stretching for thousands of kilometers. In short, if the oceans disappeared, the planet would not only dry,
Maybe.
it would lose its
But
rhythm,
first,
its protection,
we'd have
and
to
its
save
balance.
ourselves.
Earth would still exist, but it would no longer be alive.